on the Chiller channel. No one knows what channel the NHL playoffs are on, man. Playoffs.
Sports Network.
Playoffs.
They're on NBC, man. They just check out the NHL playoffs.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention the NHL playoffs, man. I love the playoffs in any capacity, man. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, lacrosse, anything that has a playoffs, man, is always intense. So, Pierre, this first segment, we pretty much committed a Class A felony, multiple homicides on this first segment. What do you think? How do you think the show's going so far?
I just hope that we don't end up on the first 48 because they never miss their man. I watched about 2 episodes today, and I'm telling you, these detectives out here, they do a pretty good job. So I just don't want to end up on the first 48.
I guarantee you, though, Pierre, if I ever end up on the first 48, I'm not telling the police anything, man.
Somebody's going to tell on you, though. That's how it always works.
Listen, criminals out there, I'm not condoning criminal activity. But if you find yourself on the first 48 or in front of any police officer, detective, and they're offering you deals, just say, lawyer. He's such a good lawyer. Listen, the police cannot offer you a deal. They're the police. They're not the prosecutor. They're not the DA. They can't give you a deal. Don't say nothing.
But you're going to get caught.
Don't say nothing.
You're going to get caught because if you did the crime and they already have you in custody, that means they have enough evidence to put you behind bars. That's probably what the criminals are thinking about. Take the deal, man. Give justice to the family.
You can't. The police don't have a deal. They're policemen. They don't make deals. They're not the district attorney's office. They just want to lock you up.
Give yourself up.
They don't have Christopher. They don't have the authority to make any deals. So if a detective tells you, "Hey, listen, man, help us out. We'll help you," man, they can't make it. They're not the DA. They don't work for the district attorney's office. Listen, don't say nothing.
We're not talking about narcotics charges. We're talking about murder. You already took away somebody's family member. Give that family some justice. Give that family some peace of mind by giving yourself up.
Man, we're speaking in hypotheticals here. I'm not saying anything, man. I'm not telling you nothing. Now listen, be prepared to sit in the jail for a couple days, maybe a week, maybe a few months. Don't say anything, man. I'm not saying anything. I'm talking to my lawyer.
I watched the episode today, man. It was somebody's grandmother, man. They was 44 years old. Somebody's
young grandmother.
And she had a grandchild in the house, 4 years old grandchild. Sure, she was pushing narcotics. Sure, she was selling legal medicines to Vietnamese people in New Orleans. But she didn't deserve to die, man. That was somebody's grandmama. And they shot the little boy in the head. Luckily, the little boy survived. But if you do something like that, give yourself up, man. First, you shouldn't have did it in the first place, but give yourself up. Give the family peace of mind.
Yeah, I mean, in a case like that, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. But in this podcasting case, I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing, man.
Hey, listen, we have digressed in such a form, such a fashion right now that we've gone from the All Things Sport podcast to talking about Jon Snow.
Lord Commander.
Very upset that Robb Stark has not come back, but all of a sudden this guy gets to come back. We start talking about the first 48, grandmothers getting killed.
Man, the Raptors are suspect. They are losing right now game 2 at home to the Miami Heat, 77-70. They got 70 points, man, with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Now, Miami is going to have a false sense of security if they beat Toronto and they play the Cavaliers. Because I guarantee you LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to have 70 points, possibly by halftime.
I don't know, man. Miami plays good defense.
I don't care what type of defense they play. The Cleveland Cavaliers will not have 70 points with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Toronto, you need to be ashamed of yourself. Drake, I told you, y'all are frauds, man. They're frauds.
Miami's very active in getting in the passing lanes and
whatever
passes. And Dwayne Wade, for as old as he is, he plays pretty good defense and stealing the ball and all kind of stuff. He made 2 great steals last night in overtime to propel his team to victory. So it's like that Miami team, they're playing good defense. And Luol Deng, not big enough to control LeBron James, but he may be just enough to hold him under 30, which is not good, but it's what they need to win the game.
Pierre, Toronto had 48 points at halftime. It's 5 minutes and 48 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They have 73. You do the math. They scored a grand total of 25 freaking points, man, in the second half, man. And you mean to tell me you're getting paid millions of dollars? You mean to tell me you actually finished second in the Eastern Conference? Man, go sit down somewhere, Drake. Go sit down somewhere, Kyle Lowry, and you, DeMar DeRozan. Like, y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves, man. I'm thoroughly disgusted with the Raptors at this particular moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the All Things Sport podcast. We went from Jon Snow to Rob Stark to the first 48 and back to sports. It doesn't get any better than this, Daimeon.
Yeah, Pierre, we have first class seats on the digression train. So we have to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We sincerely hope that you've been enjoying the show. Oh, before we go to commercial, Pierre, let's not forget, while we are on commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, go to banksboy.com, BANKSBOY.com. Download all the old podcasts. Listen to the YouTube channel, Am I Humble and Am I Humble to Split Decision. Download the blogs. Just have an all-around enjoyable sports experience on banksboy.com. And again, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. My Instagram and Twitter is @sportsbydaimeon. His is _my_humble. We're going to take this commercial break. Be right back.
Bring back Rob Stark.
Lord Commander. We'll be right back with the All Things Sport podcast on Spreaker Radio.
The All Things Sport podcast, your source for a plethora of sports content.
For real? How much those scores? Because my man just bought a Miata.
Every Friday at 10 a.m. on Spreaker Radio.
The Capital City Qs present the Seersucker Soiree. Join the brothers of the Chi Iota chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated for Columbia's premier indoor-outdoor event. Featuring an outdoor concert with a live band and DJ. Food vendors will be available on site. Fellas, bring out your best seersucker fits. And ladies, make sure you're dressed to kill for the Metro's Flyest Groove for the grown and sexy. Saturday, May 14th at the Terrace of Adventure, 211 Gervais Street, Columbia. This event is sure to sell out, so to purchase your tickets, contact 803-361-6788 or visit CapitalCityQs.com. That's CapitalCityQs.com. We'll see you there. We're back with more of the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
And we are back with the All Things Sport podcast with Pierre Banks and Daimeon Banks. And just a quick update, the Toronto Raptors have done it. They've evened the series at 1 apiece going into game 3. So Miami and Toronto series really heating up. Both teams playing well at this point. We'll see where that goes. But now we are going to talk a little boxing on the All Things Sport podcast. And at Banks Boy Productions, when we talk boxing, it's synonymous with the boxing intellect. And so I'm pleased to be joined by the founder of Bloody Money Boxing, Mr. Rudy Mondragon. Rudy, how's it going, cousin?
It's going good, family. Thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to be in your presence. It's been a while.
Absolutely, man. Now, when I talk boxing, I like to speak with someone who knows what they're talking about when speaking about the sweet science. So, pleasure to have you. Let's jump right into it and start with Ortiz Berto. You had a chance to be in the StubHub Center last weekend to witness it. Give us your take.
Part 2, right? The rematch. A phenomenal event to capture and experience live. I just got to put it out there. It was special because I took my father to the fight, and I took my brother-in-law, and I took my best friend. And so it was a family affair, kind of a boys' night out, So I had a good time. We had great seats. And the night, you can tell people were there to watch a fight. When you think about the StubHub Center, formerly known as the Home Depot Center, it's got this reputation in the boxing community for always putting on some stellar fights. From fights that Margarito's been a part of, Paul Williams, Israel Vasquez, Marquez, the list goes on. So entering the night, I knew that the StubHub was going to deliver another classic night. So we got there early. They had a fan fest event where they had tables set up where fans can go and meet Alfredo El Perro Angulo, who's very famous for his fight with Canelo, who was detained in a detention center for 9 months for being deemed unfit for citizenship in the United States. In the prime of his career, gets jailed, gets locked up for not being, quote unquote, a citizen of this country. Mikey Garcia was there with the new news about Mikey Garcia finally being liberated and freed from his top rank obligations to now hopefully be signing with someone new, maybe PBC, without Heyman, maybe Mayweather Promotions, we'll see. Danny Garcia was in attendance doing some stuff with Fox. In my opinion, I think Danny Garcia was there to maybe get a setup with the winner of Berto and Ortiz. I still think, in my humble prediction, that Floyd Mayweather is going to come out of retirement and fight the undefeated Danny Garcia in September, but we'll see how that unfolds, right? But it was a great night. Now, to talk about the fight itself, Victor Ortiz was the A side. Berto was the underdog. Now, I disagreed with that, given my breakdown of the two fighters, the moment that they were entering the fight on Saturday. Berto having just come off a defeat, not a punishing defeat, but a defeat by points to Mayweather in September of last year. And Victor Ortiz coming off a win against, I wouldn't say a mid-level fighter, but definitely a fighter who was intentionally put in Victor's way to make Victor be elevated to another level to then get this rematch. So the two cats come in, Victor Ortiz being the A side, and you can tell it was. Victor entered the ring second. It was a Victor Ortiz crowd. Knucklehead's gym was rolling deep. Gabe Rosado's team was there in the stands. Berto's gym with, Virgil Hunter's gym was there. Robert Garcia's gym was there. So there was a presence of rival boxing gyms in attendance. And so, nonetheless, it was a pro-Victor audience. Round one, Victor dominated. It was a Victor round. Victor came in fit, ready. It looked like Berto was studying, analyzing, doing the homework that I believe Virgil Hunter advised him to do. Test the round, test the waters. Round two, same thing. Victor Ortiz came out solid, strong, landing the jab, landing some straight rights.
Even knocked him down in the second round, right?
Was it the second or the third? I want to say it might have been the third round. A lot of people were saying it was a flash knockdown. What I saw in the replay was a solid straight left, but I also saw Berto having a little bit of bad footwork. So caught him, didn't catch him like planted on the ground, but caught him coming in. And that punch by Victor was strong enough to put him back a little. So the knockdown didn't affect Berto like the knockdowns affected him in the first fight that they had. But the third round, my dad called it. My dad said, look at Victor. Why is Victor coming into the ring trying to walk towards Berto's corner? What's he trying to prove? What's he trying to overcompensate with? The mental warfare was there, but there was an insecurity that my dad was sensing from Victor's side. Berto was calm, collected, all business. And so when that uppercut landed that put Victor Ortiz down, it was a very calculated, studied uppercut. Something that you can tell they worked at in the gym. Something that he was timing and waiting for the opening to present itself. And when it did, Berto jumped on that opportunity, landed the uppercut, and hurt Victor Ortiz to the point where he was up, but was still stunned so bad that when he put him down a second time, I'm not going to say that Victor Ortiz quit. I'm not going to say that Victor Ortiz wasn't hurt. He was genuinely hurt. but it didn't look like he